Alright, here we have war number 3. We're up against peanut butter and tomatoes. And I'm so hilarious, wow. So here I'm taking path 7 in section 1. I'm going to pause it here. I've got this blade, very common placement. I usually send like an OG Vision. Anybody really can take this fight, but I hate taking this node because if the AI gets passive, then you're just kind of in the shit. And then here I'm taking path 9 in section 2. So I'm looking at Blade and Void. I'm going to be bringing my Captain America Infinity War for that Magneto, and then I need Magik for that Apocalypse up there on node 47. So I have one spot, and I'm trying to figure out who do I want to bring that I can use for both Blade and Void. And here, I'm like, you know what? OG Vision is perfect. He's the best option for that Blade, even though that's the easier fight. And, yeah, I mean, you know, he's going to be fine for that Void, even though Void's an R3, and he's got a huge health pool, and OG Vision's damage is pathetic. So I'm like, yeah, no big deal. I go in here. I'm not even going to boost for this fight. This is I just want to get my energy cleared so that we can kind of start saving up our energy for our final push towards the end of the war. So I'm like, all right, no big deal here. So, you know, the other factor is obviously, you know, OGV's synergy with Captain America is really strong. For Vision, every time the defender throws a special, they completely empty their power. Now there, God, I don't even know what I was doing. I like parried him, and then I waited until the parry stun fell off before I started attacking. He obviously smacked me. So now I'm like, okay, like, what a complete moron. But ultimately, you know, in Alliance War and Masters Tier Alliance War, I mean, there are some easy fights, but like this is way up there. I guess the only thing you gotta worry about here is try not to push into his SP2, and then if he does have some power, you know, just be aware of his abbreviated stun timer because of him shrugging off debuffs faster, especially if he's placed with 5 out of 5 Limber. This guy is not placed with 5 out of 5 Limber, I don't think. So that's really it, but otherwise, I mean, it's, you know, it's literally just be patient, parry heavy combo, throw your specials. I mean, it really does not get much easier than this fight in Masters Tier Alliance War. Alright, so I did embarrass myself there. I come out of one of the easiest fights in war with only half of my health, because I'm a genius, and, yeah, I don't know. So, another thing to note here is, you know, with OG Vision, obviously he's got the double immunity, but he's really not great with suicides, because you want to spam his special attacks. Here I'm going to throw on, I'm doing all 3 of my last fights here, so I'm throwing on my big boosts. I'm not going to need any boosts for this fight, any class boosts for this fight. I'm not going to throw any specials or anything like that. So basically this fight is just play completely stun immune and just block his attacks. My block proficiency is insane. And by I mean Captain America Infinity Wars. So in this case, I mean, I'm not worried about any kind of block damage or anything like that, even from Magneto's SP2. And yeah, as long as I have a kinetic passive, which you guys see underneath my health bar, then I can just counter his heavies and nullify those unstoppable buffs. And then because I'm not metal, the cooldown timer on his unstoppable returning is, I think it's like 14 seconds. So it's really long. And, you know, what I want to do here is I said I wasn't going to be throwing any specials when I enter this fight. But what I meant was, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be throwing any SP1s or SP2s. So there I just back off, charge my heavy to get that passive fury. And then I'm going to throw my SP3 here. It does really good damage. And I mean, yeah, I mean, this again, this is just the matchup makes this fight insanely easy. Torch can do this fight, but you need to either get a backdraft, you need to, you know, intentionally get hit when he's throwing his heavy to expire the unstoppable or put it on cooldown, or you need to be able to bank in the corner, and you have to do all that without triggering the parry stun on accident. So, you know, Torch is one of those matchups like, you know, he's fine. But, you know, you really don't want fine matchups. You want great matchups. You want fail-proof matchups. All right, so this next fight, I'm thinking, obviously, when I chose OG Vision, I was way more concerned about that blade. I was like, look, if I could envision that blade fight getting out of control if he's got a passive AI and if I don't have any way to control his power. So I'm like, all right, the best move here is just to bring OG Vision, just to play it completely safe with Blade. And then, you know, I can just use OGV for this Void fight. No big deal. So everything is looking good here. I'm able to get my stuns in right now because of the stun reflect window. I'm waiting out because of my combos, and here I'm like, all right, I'm at 19 hits. I got to get to 20 to get that that debuff off of me. So I throw my SP3. You know, it's totally fine. All right, and now we're back to I can't stun. So you guys look at the block damage that I'm taking. I mean, it's a couple percent every time I take a block. Look at this. I mean, I just lost 5% of my health. 7%. I just lost 10% of my health just from that. So now I just need a window here. And yeah, I mean, you can see the error on my part. This is not a quote-unquote difficult fight, but because I'm using a really low DPS champ, I'm not using suicides. In hindsight, I probably should have turned on suicides for this fight. I shouldn't have brought in OGV for this fight regardless. I could have just used Captain America. He's much higher attack, much higher block proficiency, much higher health. Obviously, he's a rank 3. I just overlooked this fight. I did not think that this fight was going to be difficult at all. And again, technically, it's not quote-unquote difficult. It's just this is a bad matchup. So there are going to be people that are going to watch this. They're going to be like, you know what, that's a decent matchup. You made a lot of mistakes. And that's true. I made a lot of mistakes mismanaging my combo here. Also, like right now, you guys can see that the stun reflect is on cooldown, and I'm still playing parry style instead of actively stunning him. So I made a lot of mistakes there. I should have waited out that last hit, and now I'm really in trouble here. I got to get an intercept. I get the intercept. I mean, I've got 3% health here, so I've got to play intercept, and I was just a little late on my punish there. So, yeah, so anyway, all right, so in hindsight, from the start of this war, when I'm picking my team, I would have chosen Nick Fury. Now, my rank 3 6-star Nick Fury is on defense, but I have a rank 5 5-star. He would have been completely fine. He would have been perfect for this fight. The best option for this fight outside of Ghost, whom I'm not good enough with to play in war. And, you know, Ghost would have been great for that blade, too. So Ghost would have been really good. But again, I'm not good enough with Ghost to use her in war, and she's only rank 2. But I would have brought in Nick Fury. I could have used Nick Fury for Blade. You know, obviously in his he's got 2 lives. In his second life, he's stun immune. So if Blade got to an SP3 in my second life, I wouldn't have that long stun timer on me where he's just pounding me. So I could have just played it patient, baited out his SP1, fully dexed that, got off my parries. I mean, that's what I should have done, and then Nick Fury would have just completely annihilated that Void. After I joined war, I should have thought a lot more about that Void matchup, and I should have used Captain America for all the reasons that I mentioned when we were going through that fight. And it would have been totally fine. All right, so here I'm done talking about that Void fight, but yeah, here I start with the PS1 boost. And because the power gain on this node, this is after the boss is down, by the way. so I don't have to worry about protect with this guy. And without protect, on almost every node, Apocalypse is, you know, he is no match for Magik. You know, and on the kinetic transference and power gain nodes, it really is smart to use a power start 1 boost just to make sure that you can get to your SP2. There you guys see he's got like a little bit of a hiccup in his, you know, chasing me out of the corner. And that spooked me a little bit. I'm like, all right, look, if I get parried here, I'm going to survive a combo, but yeah, I don't want to. So yeah, use PS1. Obviously, at the beginning of this fight, I intentionally took a combo just to build my power. And as long as I don't screw up here, we are all good. There he blocks me. I'm like, all right, he's kind of just being a little weird. Like he knows, it's like he knows what I'm trying to do. He knows what I'm gonna do. He's just trying to figure out how to counter it. It's really weird, and I'm sure that I sound like a complete crazy person talking about the AI, you know, what they're quote unquote thinking during a fight against me, whatever. All right, so I was really upset about that Void fight. I was just so upset with myself because it was just a bad matchup. I'm glad that, you know, I assigned that bad matchup to myself. The only thing that makes me feel worse than assigning myself a bad matchup and dying is assigning one of my battle group members a bad matchup and them dying. So we did win that war, but BG3 had an awful war. I obviously contributed to that. We just had some mental mistakes. And here are the cards. B Manny, Bren, of course, just taking up residency in that gold spot, and then FaZe with the platinum. If you enjoyed the video, guys, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about that Void fight, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I know it's been slim pickings lately. It's mostly just work content. I've just been really busy. I am working on some other things. Some of them aren't unrelated to the channel, but they're going to be exciting for the community. So stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter if you want to kind of get updates on that stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.